The History Channel confirmed that Season 14 marks the final chapter for the 81-year-old mountain men legend. And what viewers are witnessing isn't just the end of a television run. It's the closing of a love story that began when Tom and Nancy loaded everything they owned into a 1969 GMC pickup and drove into the Montana wilderness with no plan and no guarantee they'd survive. So, we loaded everything we had in the back of an old '69 GMC pickup truck and headed for Montana. In a Season 14 teaser, Tom's voice carries the weight of that entire journey. It's hard to quit anything that you really like to do. But here's what makes this goodbye heartbreaking. Tom isn't just walking away from the show. He's confronting the reality that the life he and Nancy built together, 40 years in a hand-built cabin, 80 miles from the nearest hospital, may finally be reaching its end. A life built from nothing. To understand why Tom Moore's departure hits so hard, you need to understand what he and Nancy created from scratch. Tom was born in 1943 in Rockford, Illinois. His father, Chick Orr, performed in Wild West shows and taught both Tom and his brother Jack trick riding at age 7. Stunts performed atop running horses. My brother and I turned 7 years old. My father taught us how to trick ride, which is doing tricks on the back of a running horse. That early exposure to risk shaped everything that followed. By his teenage years, Tom had discovered rodeo. He joined the International Rodeo Association and spent nearly 2 decades competing in saddle bronc and bull riding across the Midwest and East Coast. It was a life of motion, adrenaline, and uncertainty. Then came February 1970. A bull named Woolly Bugger changed everything. During a ride, Tom collided with the animal and was knocked unconscious. The bull thrashed around the arena with Tom's body still attached. He suffered a severe concussion and bruising that left him unconscious for hours. The moment this chute opened, there was a big eruption. He threw his head up and threw my head down and we whacked heads. Right out of the chutes, I was knocked out and unconscious. Tom has said with characteristic dry humor that Woolly Bugger died 2 weeks later. I think I gave him a concussion too. He returned to competition less than a month later, but never regained his former success. By 1981, he retired from rodeo for good. That's when the real adventure began. Tom and Nancy had been spending summers in Montana while Tom was still competing. They stayed with friends in Troy and fell in love with the landscape. When rodeo ended, they made a decision that would define the rest of their lives. As Tom has recalled, we loaded everything we had in the back of an old '69 GMC pickup and headed for Montana. We had no idea what we were getting into or how I was going to make a living out here, but I just had a feeling that by God, I can do it. The truck itself was purchased with money from muskrat pelts, a small sign of what their future would look like. They bought 1.5 acres of land in the Yaak River Valley, one of the most remote regions in the lower 48 states. Their property sits 4 miles from the Canadian border and 15 miles from the Idaho Panhandle, deep in the Kootenai National Forest. The nearest grocery store is 50 miles away. The nearest hospital is 80 miles out. For the first 17 years, they lived without electricity or running water. It took 5 years to build their cabin by hand. During construction, they lived in a tiny 2-room structure on the property. When the log home was finally finished, they moved in, and they've never left. What the show captured about their partnership. When Mountain Men premiered on the History Channel in May 2012, Tom Moore became an instant fan favorite. But the real story wasn't his survival skills. It was his relationship with Nancy. The show documented their daily routines, Tom running trap lines and tanning hides using traditional Native American brain tanning methods, Nancy sewing moccasins and buckskin clothing. Both of them preparing for Montana's brutal 7-month winters that can drop temperatures to 40 below zero. What viewers noticed was something deeper. Tom and Nancy weren't just married. They were survival partners in the most literal sense. When one struggled, the other stepped in. When conditions turned dangerous, they faced it together. Throughout the series, Nancy has been shown expressing concern about Tom's safety on the trap lines. As she acknowledged on camera, wolves have become a bigger problem in recent years, and Tom isn't a young man anymore. Her worry wasn't theatrical. It was the genuine anxiety of a woman whose husband works alone in wilderness where a single injury could be fatal. The bond between them has been described by the History Channel as central to Tom's story. His official biography notes that Nancy has been by his side through every season, helping him make his living by trapping, tanning hides, and creating unique primitive crafts from materials found in nature. In Season 13, viewers saw this partnership in action. During the episode Depth Charge, Tom and Nancy worked together to create items for a local cancer charity auction, a custom elk leg hunting bag and a beaver tooth necklace that combined their tanning, beadwork, and sewing skills. Beaver teeth. Wow, what a cool necklace. That is beautiful. This is going to be so cool. Thank you. Whoa, that's a bag made out of elk legs. It was a small moment that revealed how deeply their crafts and lives are intertwined. Fellow Mountain Men cast members have interacted with Tom over the years. His relationship with survivalist Eustace Conway, known for his educational outpost in North Carolina's Blue Ridge Mountains, has been one of mutual respect. Though their approaches differ, Tom with his quiet craftsmanship and Eustace with his philosophical intensity, their values align around self-reliance and stewardship of the land. Tom's brother Jack has also appeared on the show. In Season 13's Endurance episode, Tom teamed up with Jack to carve a traditional peace pipe from catlinite stone, pairing it with a sumac stem and finishing it with a quill-decorated otter skin pipe bag made by Jack's wife, Connie. The result was a museum-quality heirloom rooted in Native American tradition. These moments reveal what Mountain Men captured about Tom: he's not just surviving. He's preserving traditions that have nearly disappeared. The health crisis that changed everything. In Season 11, Episode 4, titled Heart and Soul, viewers witnessed something that shook fans to their core. Tom had woken up in the middle of the night unable to catch his breath. When Nancy suggested they get it checked out and Tom agreed, she knew immediately something was seriously wrong. Just recently, our life has taken a little change. It all started with one night he sat up on the edge of the bed and I woke up and said, "What's going on?" And he said, "I can't catch my breath." I said, "Do you want to go get this checked out at your doctor?" And he said, "Yeah." Then I really got nervous. I've never had any health problems, Tom said on camera. The couple made the treacherous 80-mile journey from their Yaak Valley cabin to the nearest clinic in Libby, Montana. After a battery of tests, cardiologists delivered sobering news: Tom's heart wasn't pumping with enough strength. Fluid had been settling in his lungs. Nancy admitted on camera that this diagnosis upended their entire routine. This heart thing, this is a whole new look on life for him. Doctors prescribed medication to strengthen his heart and equipped him with a heart rate monitor to track his condition. Because their cabin sits 80 miles from the nearest hospital, they also made him wear a defibrillator vest as a precaution against sudden cardiac arrest. The episode captured something rarely seen on Mountain Men: genuine fear. Not the manufactured tension of a difficult hunt, but the real terror of confronting mortality in one of the most isolated places in America. What made it more poignant was watching Nancy shoulder more of the physical labor, tasks that Tom had performed for decades. Splitting wood, running trap lines, hauling supplies now fell increasingly to her. She took it on without complaint, but the shift in their dynamic was visible. Thankfully, Episode 5 brought some good news. Tom's medication appeared to be working. Surgery might not be necessary. The couple returned to their homestead with cautious optimism, but the question remained: how long could they keep doing this? The question of leaving Tom has been remarkably honest about the physical toll of their lifestyle. In an interview with American Cowboy, he laid it out plainly: "Yeah, I'm 70 years old. It takes 8 or 9 cords of wood to keep this place warm. It's just Nancy and me and an old Dodge pickup and 30-foot chain. We can't keep doing this forever." Then came the line that haunts anyone who's watched the show: "I keep telling Nancy, one of these days you'll probably just find me stretched out dead over the fleshing block." It was dark humor, but it carried real weight, especially after his season 11 health scare. Throughout the series, the show has documented pressure from Tom's children to move to Florida. His son Chad lives in the state and has encouraged his parents to retire somewhere warmer, safer, and more accessible to medical care. His daughter Key, who appeared on Mountain Men in 2014, had also lived in Florida before her passing in April 2015 at age 49, a profound loss the family has kept private, yet Tom and Nancy have consistently resisted the idea of leaving. As Tom has said repeatedly, he believes he was born 100 years too late, or maybe 200 years too late. "I think I was born to be a mountain man. And as long as I can stay here, I'll be a mountain man. I kind of live in the past. I was born 100 years too late or maybe 200 years too late." The wilderness isn't just where he lives. It's who he is. The History Channel biography captures this perfectly. Tom and Nancy live in the same log cabin they built by hand more than 40 years ago and have no intention of ever leaving, but intentions and reality don't always align. Season 14, the final chapter on August 4, 2025, the History Channel confirmed what fans had feared. Season 14 of Mountain Men would be Tom Moore's last. The network's press release didn't soften the blow. For 81-year-old icon Tom Moore, Season 14 could mark the moment he decides whether to keep going or hand off the torch. Legacies hang in the balance as each mountain man confronts a defining crossroads. Tom is the only original cast member to have appeared in every single season of Mountain Men since its 2012 premiere. Eustace Conway departed after Season 12. Marty Meyer-Roto took time off for Seasons 9 through 12 before returning in 2024. But Tom has been there from the beginning, and now, after 14 years, he's stepping away. In a teaser for Season 14, Tom delivered the line that captures everything: "It's hard to quit anything that you really like to do." Those 10 words carry the weight of decades: the rodeo career that ended after Woolly Bugger, the drive to Montana with nothing but a chainsaw and a dream, the cabin built by hand over 5 years, the winters survived, the hides tanned, the life carved out against all odds, and through all of it, Nancy. What makes this goodbye heartbreaking? Tom Moore's departure from Mountain Men isn't heartbreaking because a TV show is ending. It's heartbreaking because of what the show represented: a partnership tested by conditions that would have destroyed most marriages. Tom has spoken openly about what he calls his selfish need for this lifestyle. He's acknowledged that following his dream required Nancy to give up comforts most people take for granted: no nearby hospitals, no quick trips to the store, no easy visits with family. Just the two of them, 80 miles from anywhere, dependent on each other in ways that go beyond emotional support. "We were in love. Whatever he was doing, I wanted to be right there with him and support him." Nancy chose that life. She's said as much in her rare interviews. But choosing something and living with its consequences for 50 years are different things, and Tom knows it. In interviews, he's described their situation with brutal honesty. When asked about the future, he doesn't pretend the challenges aren't real. He just keeps working, keeps tanning hides, keeps preparing for winter. But now, at 81, with a heart condition that required a defibrillator vest, with tasks he once performed easily now requiring more effort than his body can give, Tom is facing something he never faced in all those years in the wilderness: the end of a chapter he thought would never close. And Nancy, who has been there since they loaded that 1969 GMC pickup with everything they owned, will be there at the end. The legacy they leave behind Tom or never set out to become a television icon. He just wanted to live the way he believed people were meant to live, by their own labor, in harmony with the land, using skills that most of society has forgotten. What he and Nancy built in the Yaak River Valley stands as proof that such a life is possible. Not easy. Not romantic in the way people imagine. But possible, if you're willing to pay the price. As Tom has put it, amazing life. I've enjoyed every bit of it. Season 14 will show what comes next. Whether Tom and Nancy stay in the valley or finally make the move their children have long encouraged remains to be seen, but whatever they decide, the legacy is already secured. 14 seasons, 40+ years in the wilderness, a cabin built by hand, a partnership that survived everything Montana could throw at it, and one mountain man who proved that the old ways aren't dead. They just require someone stubborn enough to keep them alive. If you want to follow Tom and Nancy's final season, Mountain Men Season 14 premieres September 3rd on the History Channel. Subscribe and hit the notification bell to catch every moment of this legend's farewell.